wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on it, flaring on it. We Rick flaring on it. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on it, flaring on it. Check. We Rick flaring on it, flaring on it. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Rick flaring, gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death. I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. When I open like Betty Wops and find to these Urkels that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on it, flaring on it. We Rick flaring on it. You flaring to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on it, flaring on it. We Rick flaring on it, flaring on it. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness is really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, Black Sun, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on it, flaring on it. We Rick flaring on it. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on it, flaring on it. We Rick flaring on it, flaring on it.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Phase, yeah, Bubba C, yeah, Rick flaring on him, Rick flaring on him, Rick flaring on him, Rick flaring, sun up, baby.
Hey, yo, Scotty, you going crazy for this one. We see what you're doing, we salute you. Hey, let's get it started. It's Backpack, Capital One. What's in your wallet? Got a call from my man A. Scott. I said I got it. Love that you highlighting all of these black colleges. Try to pay me for doing this. Look, bruh, if you don't get off my line with that foolishness, voice of the swag, pull up where you at. No cap if the Brody is speaking the soft facts. My advice, tune in to every show. Captain Petty, but we know that the sergeants are with the smoke. Speculate, just tell me what is we doing. Get into it, okay, look, I'ma say this and keep it moving. My boy Scotty, man, he offered the least. Black grad, paying college, I'm glad that he called me. Walk it, cause we all been taught that talk is cheap. Even primetime knows Scott for the HBCU streets.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Saturday, man. It's late night. You know what I'm saying? As you all have experienced the draft, I hope you all are having a great opportunity out there in the streets. All right. I really, I'm usually never a loss for words, but if you don't know, and now you do know, or if you haven't heard, that one HBCU player got drafted today in the rounds that everybody thought they was going to see a run of HBCU players. There was one, right? Now, I'm not the guy to say I told you so. That ain't even me, because I have to be honest. I was shocked that it was only one. I thought three. I thought three at the max, right? I thought three at the max. But just one. Now, the big one is this one. Isaiah Land. And I know a lot of you all been focusing, and a lot of people came after me. Oh, Nelly. A lot of people came after me when I said he wasn't draftable. I said that. I think I said that. When I said, see, let me tell you about my channel. I'm not here to pacify you HBCU alums. That's not my job. My job is to not pacify you. That's what them other channels do. They pacify you. Oh my God, I see Isaiah Land. I see Isaiah Land as the number one prospect. Oh my God, 4th or 5th round. There's no possible way Isaiah Land doesn't get drafted. He is just too good of a player. I'm not here to tell you what it was. Now, I think the shocker for me was Mark Evans, right? The shocker for me was honestly Mark Evans not being drafted. That was the only shocker to me. Everybody after Mark Evans, in my opinion, was on the bubble. Right? Everybody else after Mark Evans is on the bubble. Right? So I'll give you that. Right? I'll give you that. Won't have no issues with it. I'll give you that. But my biggest thing is the Isaiah Land. And let me just show you some of the stuff that I received. This is somebody sent me this. Right? Let me show y'all this. Right? Can y'all read that? Let me zoom in. Somebody reached out to me. It's from #join HBCUs. Right? You a hater. Land is at least a 5th round pick. You know what I did? Laughed them off. Laughed them off. That's what I did. Laughed them off. Right? He says, you right. A 4th, right? In 3 years, when he wins a Pro Bowl selection, I'll come back to this convo. And I just gave him a thumbs up. Oh, it's a lot more. People at me on Twitter. Oh, I don't like HBCUs. I don't this. I'm a hate. Listen. My job is to not pacify you bums, okay? Remember the whole argument that I had with Rocky? Oh, he's elite. He's elite. He's next level. He has an elite this, an elite that, an elite this. He kept throwing that word elite out. I said he's not elite. He's not. He's not. Simple. Wasn't hard. If you watch football, if you know football, it's the purest thing. It's just like, bro, watch the tape. Watch the tape. But you know me, hey, you know me, I always keep the receipts. It wouldn't be me if your boy didn't keep receipts. Listen, I chop all my stuff up. Draftable. I think Isaiah Land isn't draftable. I think he's not. Listen to me. I'm going to be very clear. You can come back on here and say, Scotty, you don't know shit. You lost or whatever, right? Isaiah Land is not a draftable DN. Now, if I was wrong, 300 of you Bamas would have been here talking about Scotty. You don't know shit you talking about. If I was wrong, it would have been 400 of you Bamas in here talking about some Scotty, you wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Isaiah went 5th round. Ha, ha, ha. In your face. Now, for me, I just need the respect. Because it's real funny to me. Last year, I told y'all Akil Glass is not getting drafted. Everybody looked at me like I had 5 eyeballs on my face. I said Akil Glass is not draftable. The way the league is going, he's not draftable. When Aubrey Miller was doing when he was there for his junior year, so the year he came back to Jackson, I said Aubrey Miller is not draftable. I said that in his junior year. Now, I will be honest, and I kind of changed it. I said he'll be a 6th or 7th round pick, special team guy. But when it initially went down, when he had that superstar season, thank you. When he had that superstar season for his junior year, remember when Aubrey Miller's family called up to my phone, talking about I don't know shit, I don't know this, I'm a B-word, all that? I said Aubrey Miller wasn't draftable then. So it's real funny to me how I get all the criticism. I get all this, I get all that, but yet and still I stand here today. Okay, I got more. You can say whatever you want. This is just me. I'm a bad GM. Call me a bad GM, right? Call me a bad I don't believe Isaiah Land is a draftable DN.
Hey, I hear what you're saying, Scotty. I'm just telling you is that this right here, when you start to see, and this is so important, man, and I saw somebody say it in the chat.
This is so important. Oh, this is so important. Y'all gotta listen real close on this one. This is so important. When you see this, a player's getting drafted.
When a GM, and this is totally different, it's one thing to seeing your head scout, it's one thing to seeing your regional scout, but when a GM comes to personally see you, that's very serious. A GM does not come, just like with the first pick of the draft. I think this kid from, I think the GMs from I think Carolina, they're the ones that's going to his workout. When you have a GM to come see you, that's major. That I mean, there's nothing you can say when he takes his time out to say, I want to come see you in person. That's a major move, man. That's a major move. If anybody knows anything about scouting, when a GM comes to personally see you, that is a major move.
So let me ask you this. That don't make sense. So in that same live, somebody asked me about Isaiah Land. No sense. Anywho, but listen, man. Do I think Isaiah Bowden is a better DB? Do I think Isaiah Bowden is a better DB than Dejon Nugget? Absolutely not. I just think that you can't overlook the fact that the kid is 6'2", runs a freaking 4.3, can kick return, punt return, cover the slot. Like, he's so versatile. That's what makes him so valuable. It's just real funny to me. But I don't know what I'm talking about. But I do not know what I'm talking about. I got people in my comments all day, chats, texting me on this number, and I respond. Texting me on this number, and I respond. Scotty, you don't know what the hell you talking about. Oh, this, all that. You hating on HBCU players. You this. Bro, it has nothing to do with anything. It has you listen, man. At some point in time, you got to take the emotions out of the sport. Because what happens is this, and it's okay. You've watched this player for the last 4 years. You feel like you're a part of the journey, right? I've watched this player. He's been this and he's been that and he's done this and he's done that. You've watched this player matriculate through your system. And then all you've seen is Isaiah Land. Because a lot of you don't watch anything else. Right? So all you've seen is Isaiah Land. All you've seen is Dallas Daniels. All you've seen is Aubrey Miller. And I'm telling you, based off this and based off that, he is not draftable, man. And the NFL told you that today. The NFL told you, listen, the NFL told you what it is. They made it loud and clear. If you do not want to play anybody, don't expect us to come save you. If you're playing people out the wrong position, don't expect us to come save you. And I'm not telling you that players aren't good enough to be in the league. That's why a lot of HBCU players are getting undrafted free agencies, because they're good enough to play. They're good enough to get a shot. They're good enough to work and go get it. But what the NFL told you is, we won't use our capital to get them. That's what they told you. That's what they're telling you. When they don't draft you, you're not worth the capital, because a GM will spend $15,000, $30,000, give you a trial run, bring you in for a camp body, see what you can do, right? They bring you in, you ball out, they look like a genius. I give you $30,000 to $50,000, you come in, you ball out, you earn your way a spot, I look like a genius, right? But if I draft you in the 4th or 5th round and I miss, that's my job. Let me listen. I'm a Cowboys fan. Let me tell you something about the Cowboys. The Cowboys in recent years have kind of gone away from FCS football, right? What we used to do is we are like a very Boise State-ish, you know what I'm saying? Like group of 5. Like, that's Will McClay, the GM, the personnel director for the Cowboys. The lowest he will go is usually group of 5 as a draft. Right? Undrafted free agents, he'll do all that, whatever. But as a draft, the lowest the Dallas Cowboys will go is group of 5. That just is what it is. That's their model. That's their standard, right? They feel like they can work with that other than FCS players. They'll get you on the back end for cheap labor, bring you in for a camp body, and see where it goes from there. But they are not in a draftable situation when it comes to FCS. That's just their philosophy for the past few years. Right? Some teams seem differently and things like that. But I'm gonna tell you this, right? The thing about HBCUs, and it's kind of in the bowl of the definition of insanity. If you keep doing the same thing you're doing and expecting a different result, come on, man. Like, I knew it was getting ugly. Let me tell you when I knew it was getting ugly. When I saw D Winners in the 6th round, you're talking about a national champ. This Bama was in the national championship, right? Playing linebacker for TCU. When I saw him go in the 6th round, I said, HBCU players are in trouble. HBCU players are in trouble. Because if you remember, D Winters is that same number 11 who played against Michigan and balled out. I mean, was absolutely just balled, outrageously balled. And he went in the 6th round. I knew it was going to get ugly. I knew it was getting ugly. Listen to what the NFL took 2 punters. The NFL took 2 punters over an all-FCS player in Aubrey, over an all-FCS player in Isaiah, over an all-SWAC player over Xavier. Took him over Isaiah. Isaiah got a punter picked in front of him. The NFL is telling you what they think about you. So the question is, right? You can't go back, because a lot of you go back and say, oh my God, it's racism. They don't like us. Oh my God, they hate H. No, it's you got to do something better. Because you know who they do love? They damn sure love North Dakota State. They damn sure love North Dakota State. North Dakota State done had back-to-back second-round picks. They've had a first-round pick and a quarterback. South Dakota State had a tight end that got drafted in the 4th round, I believe, 3rd or 4th round. So they like them. They FCS. I'll tell you this. I would have preferred, and y'all can be mad at me, I would have preferred a 1 HBCU pick on day 2, right? Let's say Mark Evans was a day 2 pick. I would have loved that. Isaiah Bowden, a day 2 pick. I would have loved that, right? Aubrey Miller, a day 2 pick. That's what you're looking for. There's value in that. You can step back and say, hey, woo, hey, man, this ain't bad. But when you have 1 HBCU player, shout out to Isaiah. All right, shout out to Isaiah. When you have 1 HBCU drafted, and it comes in the 7th round, you gotta change. You gotta change something. Something has to change. All right. It could be scheduling. It has something. I don't know what. Me personally, I'm gonna say scheduling. Right. I'm always gonna go back to scheduling and say it needs to change. That's just my personal opinion. Right. So let's continue on. Because I want to dive deep in this. Right. Let me say this. This is my big. You have to be very careful. You have to be very careful with people like this, right? And there's a difference between being a homer and being like a Trumper, right? Like you can be a Republican, which you have philosophies and you have beliefs, and then you can be MAGA to where it's just like blind loyalty. And then you have people in HBCU spaces that just have a blind loyalty to HBCUs, but that is to a certain extent is to a detriment, right? Because you're going to give bad advice based off your emotion to the situation. You're not going to, okay, so if you have an HBCU alum, right, or an HBCU guy who's a football guy, and you go up to and a player comes up to you and says, hey, I'm thinking about going Group of 5, or I'm thinking about going Power 5. You know what I'm saying? And he says, nah, man, you can get drafted from HBCU. You can. Isaiah proved that. You can. But what the NFL also showed is that they would rather take a backup. They would rather take a third. Listen, they brought in a third string, an honorable mention third string tight end from Clemson. From Clemson. He got drafted. He was an honorable mention third. The backup tight end from Alabama got drafted, and he had like 30 catches, 300 yards, and like 4 touchdowns. Like, so what the NFL is showing you is that they value Power 5 tape. They value, Group of 5 tape with Group of 5 or Power 5 competition. I mean, you had a running back from Kansas State, Deuce Vaughn. He's 5'5" and like 175. I believe the Cowboys drafted him in the 6th or 5th round. So you're telling me Jarvion Howard, if he was in this draft, that he would have gone in front of Deuce Vaughn? Do I believe Jarvion Howard's a better running back than Deuce Vaughn? Abso-freaking-lutely. But if Jarvion is at Kansas State, okay, I'll give you a better example. If Isaiah Bowden, I'm gonna break it down to you like this. If Isaiah Bowden and Dejon and Nugget, if Nugget and Bowden had the same stats at a group, if Nugget would have stayed at Georgia, if Nugget would have went to Georgia and had the exact same stats, he's a 4th or 5th round pick. It's very simple. That's how they value Power 5 tape. If X-Men had gone to Houston like Tank Dell, he's a 4th round pick. You cannot tell me that Tank Dell and Xavier Smith are not the same freaking player. If Isaiah Bowden does what he does at Florida State, he's a 3rd round pick. It's not the production has to be so outrageous. You have to dominate FCS so much that is undeniable that you're that good. But in Power 5 and Group of 5, you just got to be decent. You just got to be decent. And that's the sad part of this thing. So when players start looking at HBCUs as JUCOs, you cannot get mad at the player. You have to get mad at what the NFL just showed you tonight from the NFL draft, is that they value Power 5 experience, Power 5 tape. Do you know how many transfers came from a Power 5 to another Power 5 and probably had a few snaps here or a few snaps there, and they got drafted in the 4th and 5th and 6th rounds? The kid that just went from NCCU to Maryland, right? The old lineman. I think he's going to be drafted next year. If he can play, if he gets some starts under his belt, and gets some game tape, I believe he'll be drafted next year, all because of the competition. He just has to be good enough to say, hey, he looked like he can put his body in front of somebody. He looks good enough to do that. So once again, there's nothing wrong with you being a homer for HBCUs. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it becomes detrimental is when you don't see anything else past that, and you can't make an acknowledgeable realism to say, hey, if you have an opportunity to go to a Utah State, a Colorado State, a New Mexico State, not the big boys, but just some of the little guys, you know what I'm saying? Illinois, you know what I'm saying? Iowa State. It's okay. Take the opportunity if your goal is to be in the league. Will it always pan out? Absolutely not. But will you have a better chance and a higher chance and opportunity to do so? Abso-freaking-lutely. The NFL just showed you that tonight. All right, I'm going to take a couple callers, but the next thing I say, y'all ain't going to like it. I'm going to just tell you that right now. Next thing I'll say, y'all ain't going to like it. JB, coming to you. Then Coach Green. What's up, JB?
Scotty, how you doing, sir?
What's up, man?
No, Scotty, how are you, brother? Okay, a few things, and actually, I'll actually follow along the draft. Today, there were, I think if you look at the numbers, there were only 12 non-FBS players chosen. Once again, out of 200-plus picks, 12 of them were non-FBS teams, 11 from FCS and 1 from Division II. You talk about the guy from TCU getting picked late when he was in trouble. I knew HBCUs was in trouble when the tight end from South Dakota State, who was murking people all season, went in the 4th round. Because I thought he was going to be much higher than the 4th round pick. But I think that people talking about HBCUs getting drafted. Folks, by the way, I'm on my mobile phone. I can't see the chat and whatnot. This is not an HBCU problem. This isn't. FCS competition gets slammed all across the board. And 2 more things come on my mind right quick. When everyone was making the big deal about Isaiah Land wanting to transfer from FAMU and Deion, everyone else, HBCU apologists, you mentioned earlier, Scotty, tell them to stay at FAM. If Isaiah Land transfers to Georgia, for example, is he drafted right now? That's number one. And number two, the transfer portal. The transfer portal now. You're now seeing a lot of people leaving FCS teams to go to FBS programs because of the portal in place. They can now see how getting drafted from an FBS school is much more reasonable than getting drafted from an FCS school. But once again, the only school from FCS is getting bluffed like that is North Dakota State, because they actually developed that guy from former started tight end. Now he's like a second round or a third round offensive lineman, probably going to be guy, probably going to end up starting this year. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, HBCU fans, I get the hurt and sensitivity behind it, but this is not an HBCU issue. This is an FCS and lower league issue across football, period.
I agree.
That's all I got, man.
Hey, no problem. Appreciate the call, JB.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach Green, there's a lot of people on the call line, so I don't mind you making your point. Just gotta be concise with me, all right? Hey, Coach Green, you live.
What's up, man?
What's good?
Hey, a lot of false narratives for starters, dog. A lot of false narratives. You know, your boy made a point about FCS across the board. That was a good point. Now, your other false narrative. You can be P5 or whatever. That is not gonna get you drafted being P5. University of Texas can tell you that, for starters. And then let's talk about the kid that played at Prairie View and then transferred to Kansas State. Did he get drafted? No. The kid that transferred from Howard and went to a group of 5 school. Did he get drafted? No. The Cole kid that was at Alcorn State and transferred to Louisville. Did he get drafted? No. It don't matter where you go. The key to this whole thing is you got to make the team no matter where you got drafted at. Because you decide as an unrestricted, you can start as an undrafted free agent, or you could be a draft pick. It don't guarantee you a spot on the team.
Those are two different arguments, but okay.
I'm just saying though. I'm just saying what you saying is a false narrative.
It's not. The numbers alone show that it's not. What are you talking about?
It's a false narrative, dog. It don't matter where you go. Texas ain't had no players get drafted for a long time.
It's not a false narrative, Coach Green.
Yes, it is. It is.
Coach Green, if 11 players, why you keep cutting me off? I'll let you talk. If 11,
go ahead. My fault.
11 players got drafted in FCS. There's over 259 picks. It was 12 players underneath the group of 5 level. The other 200 players came from Power 5 and Group of 5. How is that a false narrative?
Dude, it's at the end of the day, it don't matter if you add a Power 5. That's what I'm sitting there telling you. It don't matter. Last year, the last couple of years, Texas didn't have one player get drafted, and they Power 5.
You're using one school as a narrative. That doesn't mean
that's why you making a false narrative, because that shows you it don't matter where you at.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it still don't matter where you at.
Okay, great. That's not what the numbers say.
And just because,
even though you want to isolate it,
what about the other numbers? You talking about if Isaiah Land or Isaiah Bowden went here and they would have got drafted before? That's not necessarily true.
That's what the stats say. That's what this because Hold on. Listen, before you jump down somebody's throat, listen. Clemson, I'm gonna give apples to apples. Clemson had a honorable mention tight end, right? He had 50 catches, I believe it was 600 yards and like 5 touchdowns. Kamari Everett had the same amount, but the year before he had over 1,000 yards as a tight end. So so pretty much saying this: if you took Kamari Everett out of Bethune-Cookman, right, and put him on Clemson with the same exact stats that he had this year, he would have been drafted. They're the same measurable.
Dude.
They're the same measurable. They're the same height. The only difference is where one played compared to the other.
Now let me tell you about Kamara Everett. For one, this year was very bad. It was a terrible year for him. He went from what he was doing last year to just it just went. It wasn't even a great year for him. He had to duplicate what he did last year, and he did not duplicate that. So that hurt him. That right there hurt him. That's the thing you got to look at on that. And then let's talk about, since you want to go there, let's talk about the kid from Prairie View. He went to Kansas, played well. What happened? He went to Kansas State.
He didn't get drafted.
Huh?
He didn't get drafted. I can tell you that. He didn't get drafted.
Okay. And he was an All-American at Prairie View.
Okay, but was he an All-American
So
at Kansas State?
that's why that's a false narrative. You can't say that, if you jump here, you're going to automatically get drafted. That's a false narrative.
It's not, Coach Green, but thank you for the call. It's not. Listen, man. Let me read you off. Davis Allen is his name from Clemson. Davis Allen. Listen to this. Posted career highs in reception. 39 receptions, had 443 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns in 14 games. That's Davis Allen. He's 6'6". Now let me go to Kamari Everett. Right? Let me see his stats. Let me see if I can get his stats up. Kamari Everett in 2022 had 40 receptions, 450 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Do you get my point? Do you get my point? You can be average at Clemson and get drafted. And you can be great at, but you can have the same exact stats, the same build, the same everything, and not get drafted. The NFL is telling you they care about Power 5. So essentially, if you took Kamari Everett and put him on Clemson, he is a draftable player right now. Dre, coming to you.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I would say like this. I don't know if they care about Power 5, but they care about the competition. So if you're going to be an FCS, you better choose 1 or 2 Power 5s to test yourself. You know, because you have the one thing we know is the competition is better at the Power 5, Group of 5 on that level. So you're going to have to test yourself against those type of teams so they can see what you do against that competition.
That's real. So you're saying
you can sit there.
So you're saying that the Rams last year, who took the Kobe Durant, who publicly made the announcement that the game that put Kobe Durant on the map for them was Clemson. You telling me that doesn't matter? I mean, you're telling me that does matter.
No.
You're telling me that does matter.
Yeah, that does matter. The times A&T had folks drafted, it was us knocking off Power 5s. When we went on that 3 years straight, where for 3 years straight we knocked off a Power 5. That helps you get drafted because, first of all, you already had a deficit of scholarships. So they like, okay, they doing this and they already don't have enough players. We got to look at them twice. And then it comes to the testing because then they're going to go back to the tape. So, and also that also have to go, and you can't underestimate how much coaching pedigree. Because if you think Prime had nothing to do with Belichick taking Bolden, he does.
Yeah.
So you also have to have a history of putting folks in the league as a coach, not as a university, because we know HBCU's got history. But as a coach, who have you put in the league? You know what I'm saying? That matters.
It matters. It does.
So I mean, I'm happy, you know, for him, and I'm sure the HBCU guys are going to do well. But that competition matters. You have you having 2 D2 teams. That is not if Musa throws for 5,000 yards.
It don't help none.
It don't help nothing.
It don't help nothing. What see, the thing about it, what people have to realize is if okay, let's say Musa plays Miami. Let's say FAMU schedules Miami, right? And Musa throws 290 and 3 touchdowns against Miami. But he throws 400 yards against PV. Which one means more? Which one means more? The Miami tape is going to mean a lot more than the PV tape.
Does.
Absolutely does. Y'all can be upset. Y'all cannot like what we're saying. But there have been numerous of GMs that have come out about FCS players and said, hey, this game is when this person put them on the map for us. This is when we recognize them.
Man, Georgia got third and fourth stringers getting looks. They got 10 yards. I mean, they got 10 carries for 50 yards. They whole time.
And getting drafted. So what the NFL is telling our players is saying essentially, sit on the bench because listen, this is the argument. Who would want to sit on the bench at Alabama? Who would want to sit on the bench at Maryland? These Bama's because they get drafted.
Because probably the second string of Alabama is probably better than half of the first string at FCS.
It is what it is, man.
So, but I'm interested what's going to happen next year, but the schedule, the competition has to change.
It has to.
Across the board.
It has to.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Dre. Listen, see, y'all, the argument, and me and Smash have this argument all the time, man. Me and my guy Smash have this argument all the time. Smash says, Scotty, is it about money or is it about football? Right? Because money will have you schedule all SWAC games. That's what money would. If you're about money will have you scheduling all SWAC games, and you're like, oh, we rolling in the dough. We rolling in the dough. But if it's about football, you schedule a LSU, you schedule a ULM, you schedule a let me see. What, Nicholas State or whatever them other school, whatever, U of H, you know what I'm saying? Like, you schedule those type of teams so you can give your players tape. It's just how it works, man. It's just how it works. Let's see where I'm going. Bridges coming to you, then Monty, then 2269, and then 0536. What's up, Bridges?
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
Shoot, I ain't gonna lie. I watched the whole thing today, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I thought somebody did get picked up, but I thought more was gonna get picked up. My number one point is this draft had good athletes. I can say that. Like, I understand why certain teams pick certain players for, group of five. You gotta think about it. All these players that was getting picked, they were starting in the bowl game.
Yeah.
All of them were starting in the bowl games. And you know how hard it is to get to a bowl game, a prestigious bowl game, not no regular bowl game. I ain't talking about no Little Caesars bowl game. I'm talking about the New Year's Eve bowl game.
Yeah.
So that's something that we got to look at. That's number one. Number two, like you said, Scotty, the lack of scheduling. These kids want to play these other schools. They want to. I'm pretty sure they tell you, they tell me, I'm pretty sure they tell everybody. They want to play these schools. They want to match up. Like, okay, I want to see where I'm at against this player. I want to see where I'm at against this player that's on ESPN every week. I want to see where I'm at against this. These kids want that matchup. So why not give it to them? Yes, you may get dragged. Yes, you may lose by 20 to 30, but at least you let him shine. One or two players can shine out of that film and go to the draft. Just like Kobe Durant. And my third pick, this is not the end all be all. Like, at the end of the day, these boys are getting signed right now to go to the league. So it's a bigger picture as far as like the tunnel or whatever. But y'all just gotta think about the bigger picture. Play better teams, and these boys still getting picked to go to the NFL. And stop crying and be happy for these boys at the end of the day.
Hey, man, appreciate the call, Bridges. Listen, I'm going to tell you straight up, and I said this on numerous of times. I said, if Shedeur had continued his success in the SWAC, he's a 5th-round pick, maybe 6th-round pick. If you take the same stats or even a little less stats and move him to Colorado, he's a 4th-round pick. Depending on his stats and how high they go, he could be a 3rd-round pick. You know what I'm saying? So that's the disparity. Shedeur has to dominate at a super, super high level just to be considered a 5th-round pick, and that's his ceiling, right? But if he takes that same production to Colorado, he's a 2nd to 3rd-round pick. If Shedeur Sanders would have did his freshman and sophomore season at Colorado, dog, he probably leaves early. He probably would have been leaving early his junior year. That's just facts. The competition is different. And I Jordan, I get what you're saying, bro. I get what you're saying. I understand. You can't tell me no all academic player with 3 sacks in his entire career got picked over Landon Arby. Yeah, I can. Because the NFL said, I think he's better than your guy. I think he's gone up against more competition than your guy. I think he's going up against other All-American Power 5 players than your guy. Now, I'll tell you this. If Aubrey Miller would have been able to play Texas State, if Aubrey Miller would have been able to play a Ole Miss or Mississippi State, even a Southern Miss, I think his value would have gone tremendously up. If you get a 12 to 15 tackle game against Mississippi State, that is completely different than Campbell. That's not shade. That is facts. That is not shade. That is facts. Right? It is what, and you can say, Scotty, but Isaiah Bowden got drafted. Yes, because it's not easy finding a 6'2" corner who runs a freaking 4.3 and can kick off return and punt return. Just is what it is. Monty, coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
Hey, Scotty.
What's goodie?
Damn.
Facts. Big facts.
You know, I don't know why these Bama's keep challenging your football IQ, and you constantly break it down tapes, and keep it in 100. And those that's just caught up and solely on the SWAC football side. Here's the thing: the Canadian football draft is on May 6th. Get your passports. Try to jump over there.
Hey, and win you a couple Grey Cups. There's nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
And the other thing, to piggyback on what you said, this is why probably one of the reasons Deion had to move Shedeur. No matter what all the hype and just dominating the SWAC, if he can get some of that over there in the pack, then he has a better chance for his son being drafted, period, especially when we're talking about the position of QB. Just think about it. As soon as he's moved over to Colorado, they're already throwing out the H word. I know that's not allowed on this channel, but they're already talking about that with some of the broadcasting networks. But unfortunately, that's the way this game is played. What can we do about it? Going forward, schedule some of them teams and beat some of them teams. The same way back in the day when a lot of the black schools were bigger, beating the bigger schools, but then they start integrating the teams and then start bringing the blacks up. So, got to find some way to fix this going forward.
Hey, man, appreciate it, Monty. Let me ask y'all the question in the chat. How do you feel needs to be done to fix it? Because a lot of you guys say, I don't know what I'm talking about. A lot of you guys say I'm hating. What do you feel needs to happen? Listen, man. I don't know I don't understand how you can love a player who's out of position. I just don't understand it. I really don't understand it. How can you love, and that's taking all the HBCU stuff out of it. How can you love a player that is out of position? He's out of position. Ain't no ifs and buts about it. He's out of position. That kills me. And they just be big enough. I'm sorry. Anyway. 2269, then 0536, and then 8695. All right. 2269 coming to you. Hey, calling you live. Talk to me.
Hey, Scotty. How do we rate players as far as this? Not even players, teams as far as competition. How like I understand y'all keep saying, well, not you, but everybody keeps saying the competition got to go up. And I get Power 5, this whole thing, but if we think back 15 years ago, there was no such thing as I've never heard the word Power 5. So to me, I feel like it's all marketing. Like they put this in people's heads to make it seem like there's this huge gap. Whereas on par for par, I agree, but I don't think that the top players, are that far off from Group of 5 and Power 5. I think it's just the way they market it. And then with this draft, this seems like this was a scheme because you've seen as soon as the draft was over, all the HBCU players got picked up. So I think it's a money play for the NFL, so they don't have to pay these guys. You know what I mean? And actually, that's my question. Is there a huge difference from going in the 6th round to being an undrafted free agent?
Okay, so there is a discrepancy, right? Because in the trenches is probably the biggest discrepancy between Power 5, right, and FCS. So that's why I didn't think Isaiah Land was draftable, because I just didn't think his skill set translated to a Power 5. Because if you would have been Power 5, he would have been a linebacker. So to me, it's like, bro, you're not even a DN, but that's neither here nor there. For me, my thing is this. I do agree that there is a lot of marketing behind it, right? Of just saying, hey, this is great. Hey, this is great. Hey, this is great. But at the same time, you have to look at it from a business. Like a lot of people are looking at it as a fan. You have to break this thing down as a business, right? It's like this. If you were, okay, thank you, God. If you were a banker, right? Or you were like a hedge fund manager, and somebody came to you and says, hey, man, I heard you got some quality stocks and you be picking them, man. You know, put my money in something that is credible. Well, if you start taking all the risky picks and it doesn't turn out fruitful, you're going to get fired, right? But if you go with what everybody considers safe, S&P 500, Vanguard, index funds, right, and you hit, then you're considered genius. And that's all the NFL draft is, right? These GMs cannot risk their careers on taking an FCS player when everybody thinks that FCS players are risky. When everybody views Power 5 and Group of 5 players as solid pieces to a team, right? Fan bases are more likely to get behind it when you draft a player from Michigan over a player from Southeast Louisiana, right? Or if you draft a player from USC over Sac State, right? You're like, bro, we could have went up to USC and got a player who started at USC over getting this kid from Sac State. And if that kid from Sac State is not panning out, then everybody's looking at you side. You shouldn't have drafted him anyway. Why he ain't go get the kid from US? You're always going to get that. And on the flip side of that, you're going to get the, well, you know, sometimes the kids don't work out at USC. Sometimes, you know, sometimes they don't pan out. You get that caveat. You get that grace. So that's why a lot of GMs don't touch FCS players, because they're like, man, that has to be a hit or I'm going to be looking for a different job. So you have to look at it from a business point, because all these guys have jobs. These are all somebody's jobs. So, but go ahead. I'm sorry. I hope that helped.
No. That was actually clear. And you know, it kind of backs up my thought process, because I'm old school. I'm 32 years old. So I've seen the NFL in the late 90s going into the 2000s. And it seems like, and not just the NFL, football in general, I feel like it's turned into basketball. It's way too much. Actually, I'll be honest. I think 247 fucked up the game. And I'm going to say, like, because it's lazy scouts. When I was playing, it was just, can you ball and send your tape? Like, every coach I talked to coming out of high school, it was, we need to see your tape. And if they really wanted to offer you a scholarship, they need to come to your games and see you visibly. So I think that's just ruined it, because like just like you said, that USC guy, and there's so many of them are bust. And when you get a dog that comes out of like either a Group of 5 that's not high name, or like the best players in the conferences, they usually pan out. It's like you can tell a pro by the eye test. And I feel like that's been lost in football. We turned it to basketball. And with this Bronny James shit, it's just a bunch of hype behind people. And I'm like, it's ruining the game for the real purists. So that's just how, and I feel like you're right. It is a business play, because the fans get hype about these big schools, especially these casual fans that don't really look at the eye test. I feel like that's what's happening. And you see all these players getting snatched up after the draft because it don't ring bells. You know what I mean? I just want our players to get a fair shot so their families could be happy and cheer. That's why I feel like Deion, he fucked it up because he had a chance to do something special and he ran off. So I'm a punch out, man.
Hey,
Appreciate
man, appreciate the call, man. Hey, man, listen, I'm 33. Okay, I'm 33, so I'm old school. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I was there before. I was there with the Nokia. You feel me? I was there with the Nokia. You know, with the brick Nokia, the one that you can run over with your car, and you be good to go. You feel me? So thanks, babe. So you know that was me. You know, I was there with the Nokia, with the flip, with the snake. You know, we had the T9. I was there. That's old school, baby. What y'all know about that? Y'all know nothing about that. That's old school. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know nothing about that. 0536 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Hey, what's up, Scotty? Real quick, my brother. A long time since I talked to you. Congratulations on you and your lady announcing your union. Also, shout out to Kofi. May he rest in power.
Absolutely.
And many blessings to his family. I just want to get out because I haven't called in a while, but I do watch you all the time. Dominique Kamani Rogers got drafted out of Tennessee State back in 2008. That was 15 years ago.
Yeah, first round.
Played in the league 11 years.
Yeah.
A few years after that, we had 2 offensive linemen get drafted in the 7th round. So it's possible that you get drafted. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. It's just many more Group of 5 and Power 5. Okay, and I throw out two things: development and scheduling. You're right about the schedule. Okay, but it's all about development and it's all about scheduling. Buddy Pugh develops players, and he's developed a track record where they trust him, just like the North Dakota State players are being developed. Okay, and they've had a track record of beating Power 5.
That's true.
To the point where Power 5 are not really scheduling them no more.
That's true.
So I'm just going to throw that out there. But saving grace to you HBCU people is this: players got to play somewhere. So you're going to have players still. Okay, you may only have for 1 or 2 years, depending on how good they are, but you'll still have good players coming to school. And get off. Keep the good work up, Scotty. Love you, brother.
Hey, see you in the regular season, my boy. Appreciate it, T-Web. All right. Ooh, my bad. Hey, listen. This is kind of fair. And also, listen. This is what people don't they don't want to talk about this. They do not want to talk about this, okay? Now, listen, if you don't know, Hunter Lemke from North Dakota State, the fullback, the position that is getting waned out of the NFL, got drafted. So you're telling me a white boy from North Dakota State is better than X-Man? That's what they're saying. Why? Because he's proven it on other levels. He's proven it playing against Iowa. He's proven it playing against Power 5 competition. He's proven it winning a national championship. But I digress. I'm taking X. You know, that's my guy. I take X. 8695 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
What's up? What's up, Scotty? This is for all the HBCU guys that's watching, because I know y'all watching. If you had any type of production, if you are a baller, you better hop up in that thing, man. It closed tomorrow. All right, that's my first point right there. Now, so me personally, I played in the MAC. So the difference between the MAC and FCS and especially HBCUs is we played against a Big Ten school every single year, which means every single year you're going to get tape against Big Ten talent. We played against Tennessee. It's an SEC school. You're going to get that tape. Khalil Mack was in my conference. All right, Khalil Mack balled out against Ohio State. Then he tested. The measurables matched what they saw on film. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what all this evaluation stuff is about. A lot of the guys that were projected, everybody thinks that Shaq Davis was just the best receiver in the world. He ran 2 routes. Every route you watch on his tape is a post or a go.
Come on, now
Nothing
you preaching. You preaching now.
We can go down to Aubrey Miller. Now, if Aubrey Miller played this game in any time before 2010, he's definitely getting drafted. But now in this new age NFL, you got to be able to cover. He struggles with that. On top of the fact that he's 5'11", 230 pounds. You got guys that are 6'4", 250, running 4.3s, and you thought this guy was going to get drafted over all them guys. It doesn't add up. They thought just a lot of the stuff, man, I'm telling you, the scheduling, Deion was not saying don't play against Power 5 schools. He said don't take $300,000 to travel across the country to play a Power 5 school.
and then get your head beat in. And then get your head beat in. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So he's saying if you're going to play, at least get paid for it. And as long as these HBCUs, when they do play against this Power 5 talent, when FAMU or Bethune-Cookman or whoever goes to play Miami and they get their face beat in, or Southern goes up the street to LSU and gets 70 dropped on them, how do you expect the NFL talent evaluator to take your team seriously? It's impossible unless you are playing in the FCS and you are dominant. I'm talking dominant. And then you back that up playing up in competition, you have no chance to get drafted. That's just how it is. That's how it's always been.
That's fair. That's fair, man. Hey, man, you talking. Okay, I do it. You can call in anytime. Okay, you talking. All right,
for sure, bro. Lock me in, man.
Hey, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to my boy Quincy. He's a member. All right, so Quincy Q coming to you. Hey, Quincy, what's goody?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. No, it's good. Hey, listen, my condolences for your mom as always, bro. You know what I'm saying? Praying for you, my guy, but we here for you. But go ahead.
Dude, I'm so happy they got land. I really am. I know you're a Cowboys fan like I am. I was really happy they picked him up. Will McClay said he loves Florida A&M program and Jackson State program. He said they have some dudes. So I'm not sure what Florida A&M and Jackson State are doing different than some of the HBCUs, but Will McClay, he's a personnel guy. And this is the second year in a row
Take a guy
that
from
he got Florida A&M guy.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But I think they moved Land to a linebacker, right? Because our linebacker spot, our linebacker spot is weak. Van Der Esch keeps getting hurt. We got the guy from I think it was Texas A&M, Demario, something like that.
Overshown. Yep.
Yeah, no, from Texas. I'm sorry, he's from Texas. Yeah, the number 0 from Texas. I like that kid. So you add Isaiah Land to that linebacker room, which has been a weak spot for us. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully we can do something with that. And with Land's versatility, he can be a stand-up guy, whatever, if he can make it, or special teams guy, as my boy Rube said. So however it flows. But you're right. They have gone after the undrafted free agents from FAMU. Go ahead.
And then the last caller, he was right, but he was wrong too, because Bolton, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, is 5'11", and his stock dropped because he ran 4'9". But like you were saying, because he went to Missouri and played in the SEC, he got drafted in the second round. So his measurables is the same as Aubrey Miller. But Aubrey Miller went undrafted. He went drafted in the second round. Kind of going to what you was talking about here, where we had to play better competition. So like you said, Alabama A&M, they should play always a Power 5 or Group of 5 team to show your talent. Just like I love the Florida A&M when we played North Carolina. If you do that, you give your guys a chance.
Yeah.
And you talked about it at the beginning of the year. If it wasn't for the lack of depth, Florida A&M could beat North Carolina. And North Carolina was ranked.
They could have definitely won if they had some depth. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna believe that right there where that is. Y'all can take that for a grain of salt.
And then you talk about this all the time. Nobody really want to play Alcorn State. Alcorn State give them to them Group of 5s all the time. They have a problem trying to get a game because they play so well. So HBCUs, that's what they have to do, Scotty, like you were saying. You have to step up your competition, play out of your own circle of teams.
Absolutely.
To give your guys a chance to show that they are just as good as some of the other FCS schools getting drafted, man.
That's fair.
So that's all I got to say, man.
Hey, man, appreciate the call as always, my boy. Listen, I'm going to say this. I think players that have successful seasons, I wouldn't be surprised if y'all can be mad at me. I don't give 2 shits. If I was Adrian Maddox right now, I'm looking to get my ass in the portal. The freshman All-American FCS player from Alabama State, I am hightailing it to the portal right now because I'm trying to get drafted. I got the length, I got the ability, I got the versatility. I can play slot, I can play outside. I'm taking my ass to the portal. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. I'm not playing with Alabama State, especially because they're on a rebuild. No Urshad, no Jordan, no Isaac. You don't know if Bubba go. I'm gone, and I got 3 years of eligibility. I'm out. Deuces. Got another member, guys. Sorry, Mr. D. What's up, Mr. D?
What's going on, Scotty? Hey, let me just break it down. These players, just give me a couple of minutes to tell you what I'm trying to pitch right now. The players cannot control what teams the schools play. In order to be drafted, it's 2 hurdles you have to do. The first hurdle is whatever position you are in, whether it's running back, defensive tackle, edge rusher, you need to look at the measurables for what the league is picking. So, for example, if you are edge rusher, you see in the league that edge rushers in the first round were between 6'4", 6'6", and between 245 and 275. That's your first hurdle. And then the next hurdle is you have to dominate. I mean, dominate. You have to have measurables off the chain. If you were a running back, they had a running back from, I think, Kansas State. He was 5'5", short.
Yeah, 165.
5'5".
Yeah,
that's right. But that boy had 1,500 and something yards, right? Who were the highest running back yards for last year? It wasn't a Jackson State player. He had a little bit over 1,000.
Jarvion Howard was number one.
Number one. What was his rushing yards?
1,100, and I think
1,100.
I think Savion had 1,000 as well. I think he was like 1,032, something like that.
Yeah, 1,030. That's not enough. You got to dominate. You got to have over 1,500 rushing yards, to between 1,500 and 2,000 rushing yards to make people look. Because as you go up a level, they're going to say that your numbers are going to go down. So if you're not dominating, you're not going to get picked. That's case in point. So first thing you have to do, these kids got to look at, you got to have the measurables. Look at the draft. That's what I'm being advising some of these players. Look at the draft for your position. Look at what size, weight, speed, what their measurables are. If you don't meet the measurables, you're not going to get picked in the draft. That's what it is. They look at you as an undrafted free agent, but that's what it is. If you're not dominating, if you meet the measurables, your ass got to dominate. And if you're dominating, you got a chance of being picked between the 3rd through the 6th round. That's facts.
That's fact. That's how
so let's take the emotions out of it, Scotty, because I can't take it. And you and I talked about this. I have 2 cousins that played in the NFL. They both were drafted in the 3rd round. I got a cousin right now that plays wide receiver for Indianapolis. He meets all the measurables and he got the speed and he can catch. So what do you think about that?
No, I agree. You know, like if you're undersized, you got to overcompensate with your accomplishments, right? And the way, and I play receiver, so I'm gonna keep it to receiver, right? Like the kid Zay Flowers from Boston College. Do I think that was a great pickup by Ravens? Absolutely not, because I don't think Lamar Jackson knows how to throw to short people. That's just my personal opinion. That's neither here nor there. I think they should have went with the bigger guy, Quentin Johnson from TCU. But either way, but that's the way the league is going, right? So to me, correct. If you take X-Man, who has the same measurables, literally, and if you put him in his production on, put him on Wake Forest, put him on North Carolina, he's draftable. You see it? It's just
he's draftable.
He's draftable. So
you gotta have the numbers. If you're not producing, they're not gonna look. And see, when you don't have Dion in the SWAC now, nobody's gonna look. Last year you had the Dion effect, which you would get 3 or 4 players. And I said this in your chat a few weeks ago. You're gonna get 1 player drafted because Dion is gone. Nobody's gonna be looking. I even heard commentators talking about Isaiah Land was picked from Jacksonville State University. They don't even know where these guys are coming from. I mean, literally, I was listening to the Steelers broadcast. The announcer said, yeah, Isaiah Bolden just got drafted from Jacksonville State University. I said, Jacksonville State? They don't even know the guys.
Don't even know them.
Don't even know them. Okay, so anyway, man, keep it up. I'm just trying to keep it real. We got to be real with these players. Everybody got this hope and hype on it. If you don't meet those measurables and you're not dominating, you're not going to get drafted. That doesn't mean you're not going to be in the league. You just ain't going to get drafted. You'll be an undrafted free agent where they spend a minimal money on you and it's all on you. And then the other problem is if your ass don't make past year 3, guess what happens?
You don't get vested.
You don't get vested. They're going to cut you before you hit year 3. Then you don't get full life insurance. Okay? That's keeping it real. I'll let you later, man.
All right, Mr. D. Appreciate the call. Let's get it. Now, hey, I got another member, Miss Griffin. I'm coming to you, but I'm going to say this before, because I said I was going to say something that's going to make y'all mad. Listen. You might not agree. You might disagree. But Mr.
Baby, who is Smack? Who is Smack?
Prime, preach. Hey, he hurt. Lose it. Deion Sanders hurt. I don't give a damn what you talking about. You can be like, oh, Scotty, lose it. Deion Sanders hurt. Deion Sanders puts pressure on people. Deion Sanders makes people open their eyes. Deion Sanders puts you in the front of the spotlight. I'm sorry. You could be like, Scotty, it hurt. It hurt. Okay. You are no longer a part of the prime effect. Okay. And it hurt. So once again,
baby, who is Smack? Who is Smack? I wake up.
Okay. Listen. You can get mad. You can say shouty or whatever. It's facts, man. It's just facts. Losing Deion Sanders hurt the SWAC, and it hurt HBCUs. Because you know who was champion for the Kobe Durant? Deion. Deion was champion for the Kobe Durant. Deion was champion James Houston, even though he was playing out of his gosh darn mind. You know what I'm saying? Deion was championing the fact that there was HBCU players that could ball. How you gonna tell somebody who's a freaking transcendent NFL player who was the pinnacle of greatness as a player, and you tell him he don't know how to evaluate talent? He don't know what an NFL player look like. You talking about one of the greatest of all time, probably the greatest in some people's opinion. So when Deion tells you there's NFL talent here in this arena, in this realm, you got to respect it. You got to respect it. So, listen, we can all, he had his faults. He had his faults. I called a lot of them out. But once again, how I got to call a spade. And the man was a champion for HBCUs. That just is what it is. So,
baby, who is Smack? Who is Smack? I wake up motivated. 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 I wake up trying to bless somebody.
inspire somebody, encourage somebody, help somebody to the next level. I got time today. I got time today.
I got time today. Let's get to this call. Miss Griffin, coming to you. What's up, Miss Griffin?
Hi. It seems to me there is a disconnect between the recruits, what they want, and what HBCUs, how they view football. The players want to go to the next level, to whether it be NFL or whatever. They want to play professional ball, but that's not the aim of HBCU. I mean, like you said earlier, money versus exposure. Or there's just a disconnect. Now, years ago, we had great players come out because of how the social climate was.
Yeah.
We couldn't go to Alabama. We had to go to Mississippi Valley. But when the social climate changed, then the mission of HBCU football became disconnected from what the players wanted, or the players what they aimed for.
That's good. That's good, Miss Griffin.
I mean, it's just the kid from South Carolina State who's now LA Rams. I'm sorry, it was the Clemson game. It was the Clemson game that gave him the exposure, and also the Celebration Bowl. Those two games gave him exposure.
Miss Griffin, let me ask you this. Do you think that HBCU alums that were around for the golden era of HBCU football, do you think that they're just living on a memory of what it was and not what it's currently at right now? Because you got to understand, like, these are alums that have seen some of the greats come through. You know what I'm saying? Year after year, the turnover was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So is it that HBCU alums need to start being more realistic about their expectations, or where do you see the change coming in that, or where do you think that the mindset is? It that you need to start telling recruits that, hey, you're coming here for an education? Like how does that transpire?
I'm sorry. I went to a D2, but two D2 level HBCUs, and one of them was Tuskegee. And the last time Tuskegee had a draft, I think his name is Florence, Drayton Florence, over 10 years ago. So I think the aim of HBCU football was never to get people in the draft. That was never the mission. It just happened it happened that way with the great people, with the people coming out of the HBCUs because of what was going on socially in society. But once things changed, off the HBCU campuses out in the greater society, then it's just. And I understand, older alumni than myself. I'm in my 50s, but I know other older alumni who were around in the 60s and 70s and early 80s. I mean, and I understand they love living that, those memories, and those are great memories. But things have changed. And I want HBCUs to get more, players, I want those young men who wish to go to the next level to have the HBCU experience. But there are so many different factors that are fighting against that now. And I'm sorry, I totally agree with you. It is scheduling, it is coaching, it is commitment to, whatever the mission is, and more money. I watched the first half of Morgan State play against Georgia Southern. They play fantastic. Now, of course, second half, Georgia Southern started taking to another level, but I saw great promise. But you have to play those tough games, even if you do lose. I watched Langston play white schools, other white schools. I've listened to and watched. What was that game? Oh yeah, the North Carolina versus FAMU game.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just, saw glimpses of greatness, but we have to make commitment. But the question is, do you commit? You have a young man coming for it. What's the pitch? I'm sorry. I hate to ramble. I'm sorry, rambling. What's the pitch for coaches at HBCU? Is the pitch different than a Power 5?
Has to be.
It has to.
Has to be. Get to play in front of your people. Yeah, because it's not the same. I can't promise you. I can't promise you anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wonder what But mine is Dion. What's the pitch for Maynard? What's the pitch for Coach Pugh? What's the what's the pitch versus
Pugh? Now Pugh got some notches on his belt.
Exactly. I mean, okay, not maybe not Coach Pugh, but say other people in the MEAC, other people in even the SIAC at Tuskegee, at Clark Atlanta, at Miles. I mean, there are people who do aspire. So what's the pitch versus say Alabama or LSU?
That's right.
Or Michigan State. Talking about black coaches. I mean, Michigan State got a black coach. Penn State got a black coach.
Yeah.
What's the pitch?
What's the pitch? I like that.
It's not
like
color. It can't be the color. It can't be the color of the coach's skin. It's gotta be the pitch.
Hey, Ms. Griffin,
I'll just get off right.
You preaching though. You preaching though. I like that. What's the pitch? I like that. I like that. Hey.
See, I'm here in California. I grew up in LA. I grew up in USC and UCLA country. Okay. So, and I spent a decade down in Florida and Alabama. So I saw, big time football in two different time zones and two different regional cultural landscapes. Because Southern California is quite different than Alabama and Florida, but both places are crazy about their football. Believe me.
All right, Ms. Griffin, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much, Ms. Griffin. That was a beastie call. But I want to pitch it to, I got you guys coming. Appreciate you guys for holding on. I want to pitch it to you guys out there in chat. All 586 of y'all, please like the stream. Go ahead. Go ahead and like the stream. Also, I think our wedding registry is on Mr. and Mrs. Script. I hope Key can. Hold on, guys. Hey! Text me the wedding registry in my phone. Yeah, so but I want to pitch it to you guys out there in the YouTube space. What is the pitch? Like think about if you're an HBCU coach right now, because just because Jackson State got it, that wasn't with you though, TC. That wasn't with you, TC. So TC can't even throw that pitch, or we got to play. It wasn't you. You didn't get Bowden drafted. So what is the pitch? Right? Hey, listen, we got our wedding coming up. Take a quick little commercial break. Mr. and Mrs. Script.com/registry. All right. If you would like to donate to our wedding or buy anything off the wedding registry, we really appreciate you guys. We get married July 8th. All right. July 8th. That's when we get married. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys go stop by there and check out the wedding registry and everything like that. Let me take some calls. Dre, you're going to have to wait a minute because I want to get through these calls. Let me see who's been waiting longer. 2269 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
I'll be honest with you. Some people probably waiting longer than me. I don't know if you got that right. This is my second time calling up. This is everybody a fair shot.
Oh, then I got to let you go then and call back in, though. Appreciate it, though. I love your honesty, man. Appreciate the honesty. 9894 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Talk to me.
Okay, man. Very great show. You're right. Now, Miss Griffin, he was on point tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she has a very good point. It's all about, Scott, let's be honest. It's about business more than ever before. Okay? We got players going into the portal for 8 hours just to get leverage against their current school. Guy went in the portal for Florida State for 3 hours to pick up an extra $50,000, Scotty. Okay, so the game has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, Scotty, I was in Boulder, Colorado last week, and okay,
you enjoyed it.
And Scotty, if I ain't no better, I thought I was at an HBCU for a while.
Boy, shut up! Shut up!
I hate to say it, Scotty. It pains me to say it, Scotty. Well, and here's what I mean. Now, obviously, it was more white folks than black folks. I ain't mean that from the. I'm talking about the experience. Okay, I'm talking about the hype. I'm talking about seeing all the black folks in charge, coaches, all the black coaches coming out. I couldn't see no white coach, you know what I mean? And all the black mamas up there in the skyboxes. I couldn't go into the skyboxes, but I ain't never seen that many black folks eating steaks and hors d'oeuvres and drinks and liquor, and no white folks around in my life, Scotty. Okay? Okay? And I'm saying, you want to know why Deion got all those folks leaving Florida State and everything coming? It's about the pitch. The pitch is now, you ain't got to, don't get me wrong, Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, a few other, they're always going to get theirs. But you know what? After you get past that top 6 tier, oh, you got option, brother, for that experience and everything. And your mama can come up here and dine and drink liquor, and your daddy them, auntie them.
You can't do that at a black tailgate? You can't do that at a HBCU tailgate? Because I mean, I don't drink. No, I don't drink, but I've dined very well at some tailgates, sir.
No. But I'm talking about at a Power 5 level, where you getting that $100,000 bag, okay? Okay? And everybody in the suites and everything like that look like you. And glad you're there.
They don't look like us. They don't look like us in the suite. Stop lying.
Oh, no. Hey, Scotty, you didn't see it. I'm talking about when Deion up in his suite, where the parents were.
Dog, you're talking of, listen, bro. Let's okay. You're talking about one school out of all the Power 5s, right?
No. Yes, I'm saying that's why. Remember, I started off by saying it was an HBCU experience. That one school. I'm saying.
Bye. Stop it, sir. I let you go the first time. Now you just getting ridiculous. All right. Now, hey, Gabe, coming to you.
What's going on, Scotty?
What's up?
Okay, so I've been listening to you and all the callers and stuff like that. I want to preface my conversation by starting off going back to what you were saying earlier about the SWAC commissioner. Now, you played a clip where this man said that the SWAC is the big time
super
is the premier
super conference. Super conference.
Yeah. So how are we the damn super conference when we play in Campbell? and you know, once again, now like I said, you know, Deion is gone. Now, preferably, I would have went with another celebrity style coach. I don't know who they could have gotten, but I'd have searched out a celebrity coach before T.C. Taylor. But it is what it is. So yeah, I'm not saying that the SWAC should go out and play a Power 5. Because look at Prairie View. What was it back in 2021 when they played Texas A&M and got their head clobbered?
Yeah, they got beat down.
You know. Yeah. You know, like you said, play University of Memphis, Houston, Southern Miss. You know, something that's going to get them the exposure to these players and showcase what they can do. So like you know, how many ESPN games Jackson State going to be on TV this year?
I think
I'll wait.
Two. Yeah. The MEAC and SWAC challenge and the OBC. OBC's going to be
on Block and Class. Okay.
Yeah, OBC going to be on ESPN 2, and MEAC SWAC's going to be on ESPN because it's week 0. So yeah, they're going to be on 2.
See, and that's you know that's really not no main competition. Like, you know, like I said, don't nobody know who these teams are. But anyway, yeah, all I got to say is, like you say, you know, the scheduling got to be better, and that's it. I'm gone, man.
I appreciate the call, G. Listen, man. What's crazy is you can do a lot of things, man. You can do a lot of things. You can schedule better. You can recruit better. You can get better offensive coordinators, or you can register for the wedding at Mr. and Mrs. Script.com/registry. Either one of them work. Either one will work. Okay? I would prefer the latter, but hey, they all work. They all work. Either one works. I just want to give you all that heads up. So just in case if you feeling giving, okay. Wow. These callers are rolling. Mr. Lawson, coming to you. Got to go to a member. What's up, Mr. Lawson? Talk to me.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Talk to me. I apologize for selling. Is it Illinois? Illinois?
There you go. There you go. Leave
okay.
that F off.
My bad. Why is it there? Come on, man. Why is it there?
Hey, you have to ask the French about that.
All right, go ahead.
So, listen, I was actually chilling, enjoying a Nationals game, and I got a prompt that you were streaming. I was like, oh, I love baseball, but Scotty is live, so let me go support. Come on in and hit the like button. And so I came on in, and I'm that's not even joking, Scotty. I'm trying to help you build your platform. Because when Scotty is successful, right, I remember your son from the Celebration Bowl. And that's a pathway for his success. And I'm going somewhere with this.
Talk to me.
I've been off the NFL for 8 years. I don't miss it. Because if Walter Payton didn't do enough in the league to lead an ownership group, or Jerry Rice, or any of the other black players who built the wealth of the NFL, I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm ready to go to the next league. That's why last week I was at a Seattle Sea Dragons game. There was 15,000 people there, but Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a black owner of that league. And it's football to me. It's entertainment. It's a break from the week. And the pitch for a young man that I'm recruiting to an HBCU is I ain't never been on nobody's draft list, and I'm working on making my $3 million. That's the pitch. And so you can go to the NFL for 3 years, 5 years. Go look at what the numbers say. But I've been doing this I was 50. I turned 54 last week. Mm-hmm. And so that's what it is. I'm not fascinated with the NFL. I tolerate it. I like listening to the conversation. But I just wanted to weigh in because I said I'm giving it till 6 o'clock and I'm breaking off. I'm on the West Coast. So
I like that.
It's good to hear your voice. I'm done. That's all I needed to say, man. I'll be back next week.
I got you, Mr. Lawson. I love the call, though. I love the call. Appreciate it. Hey, listen, man. If you take I said this. I said, and anybody can recall when the XFL said they came back. I said the XFL would do themselves a big service if they focused on getting a lot of HBCU players within that league. Why? Because you're naturally going to bring the fan base over. So I love the viewpoint from Mr. Lawson to say, hey, why are we continually to support an entity that consistently shows us that they only want to use us, right? Huge. But okay, it's like saying, I'm done with sugar, and how much sugar is involved in everything, right? Like you really have to be very consciously capable to say, I am literally done with sugar and all the stuff that I'm not doing, no more processed sugar. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how the NFL works. It's very entrenched into a lot of things. But I do believe that if the XFL took the approach of, hey, let's go get some of these HBCU players and drag them and add them to our league, I think you'll take a lot of eyes over to the XFL. Because why? You want to see what they do. Want to see what they do, but the thing about what Mr. Lawson is losing, I love the point. I absolutely love the point, Mr. Lawson. The only thing is that what the kids want? right? We could all want that for the kid. Want the best thing for the kid to say, hey man, it's not about the NFL. But if he feels it's about the NFL, that's just the nature of the beast. That is just the nature of the beast. Let's go with 7051. Hey, caller, you live.
Scotty, what's up, baby? This Coach Hayes, man.
What's up, Coach? Talk to me.
I'm good, man. I need that gunshot first, buddy.
Gotcha. Always, all day.
I love you. You woke me up. Listen, man, cut you on. Appreciate the grind that you on, man. But listen, I was listening to the thing and the young lady that came on talking about the pitch, and she's 100% right when you talk about the pitch. And the pitch is, in my opinion, is one, we have to educate our young black youth on HBCU football. And what do I mean? I did college and career for a long time. A lot of our kids don't even think HBCU football is Division I.
That's half.
A lot of our players don't understand. For example, I had a young man had Tennessee State on deck. He had Austin P on deck and UT Martin. So I asked him, "What's your choice, baby?" "Coach, I'm thinking UT Martin, coach." I said, "Why not Tennessee State?" "Well, UT Martin, they D1. He didn't even realize they in the same conference.
Oh, wow.
And see that, and to me, that's where the bigger problem is. So the pitch is, as I put up there, I saw you put the quote up on the screen, is the quality of life. Let's be real. We talk about television. When the last time you saw an incarnate word football game on TV?
That's facts. That is facts. You preaching.
So here's another thing. Southeastern Louisiana. We know a couple years ago they played FAMU in the playoffs, beat them to death. Why those same kids, those same black kids that are going to Southeastern Louisiana, not going to Grambling or Southern?
That's good. That's good.
See, so now what happens? Is that their better talent comes to our school. So now when we go to the playoffs, we have an advantage because they're playing in the same conference. And so back to the quality of life, what I'm talking about is, when you ever heard somebody talking about, yeah, I'm going to go back to my Southeastern Louisiana homecoming, or would I rather go to Grambling's homecoming?
You preaching, coach.
So the quality of life, see, we don't understand. At Southeastern Louisiana, nothing wrong. I get it. It's a school, but it's equivalent insofar as conference and level. You understand?
Yeah.
And so when you see somebody get drafted from Southeastern Louisiana over an HBCU.
You right.
So it starts with the pitch starts really with our own community educating these parents, and they got it right in their pocket. They carry it every day, the phone. All you gotta do is go in there and type in FCS schools. It'll tell you every school, state, conference, and everything else they in.
That's good.
You understand? I mean, when I look at places like I'll take a better one because we know we don't have any out west, but Texas got a gang of FCS schools. But look how many schools they get passed up, and those kids have to understand. They have to understand it's equivalent, but we have such a stigma that HBCU football is lesser than, and that's the furthest from the truth. I have a kid right now. He decided to go to Maine. A black kid playing at Maine when he could have went to the same school and what? He's in the transfer portal right now. Coach, I don't like it up here. And a large percent of our kids come home because after that very first season, what is their quality of life? What is their quality of life on campus? Where's the friendship building? Go look at the demographics of the numbers. Where do they start building friendships? Like, where do they build these lifelong friendships? Who do they turn to?
That's good.
When December comes, these players are now, amongst other kids like them, blah, whatever. So now, is it hard to tell a kid not to go to Florida over Bethune-Cookman? And that's not a shock. I'll take Florida State over FAMU. No, it's hard to tell a kid not to go to Florida State over FAMU.
Absolutely.
But I sure would. I would most definitely go to FAMU over Southeastern Louisiana.
Now, Coach, my question back to you is, why do you think HBCUs are missing out on the kids going to UT Martin and Mercer and Kennesaw State? Like, why are they missing out on some of these kids? And once again, we know they can't get everybody. No school can get everybody. That's why there's so many of them. But why are we missing out on these kids? Why are we getting continuously beat by a McNeese? Why are we continuously getting beat by a Central Arkansas? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the deal?
Well, I'll say this. One, in our community as a whole, nothing's ever 100%. But we get caught up with the name brand. See, we get caught up with the logo. And I've been in these rooms. You know, coach come in, he got a little polo shirt on, got his hair slicked back. And, man, you could come to McNeese, blah, blah, blah. Most of your kids couldn't even tell you what McNeese is, right? Most kids, think about it. You got kids going to Incarnate Word.
I don't even know where it's at.
It's in Louisiana. That's my point. Well, when you see the Incarnate Word football game ever, I'm being honest. If you tell anybody can tell me, I don't care, on ESPN 37, you tell me when you ever seen the Incarnate Word, but we showing up seeing Grambling, where they go to these classics, they play these games, and they're in the same level, the FCS schools.
Mm-hmm.
We got kids going to Presbyterian, right, in South Carolina. Why not go to South Carolina State?
Yeah. But now, coach,
you know what I'm saying?
But coach, let's be real. You know, if I go to Presbyterian and I walk into their weight room and it's you know, ooh, and I go to South Carolina State's and it's you know, that matters. That matters to kids.
It does matter, but that's where the education comes in. Because let me ask you a question, Scotty, to the chat. Old school, what's heavier, a pound of rocks or a pound of feathers?
They're both a pound. Ha, ha, ha.
So that's my point. You're still going to get stronger, but here's the deal. Here's the difference breaker. What's your quality of life in college for the next 4 years? That's the real question, Scotty. What's your quality of life? The weight room? No, they still got weights.
Yeah.
Like, I understand what people, I totally understand that. Aesthetically, that's good. But again, that has been our problem for the longest. We're not looking at the root, but we're looking at what's shiny.
That's what
you understand?
That's what gets us. You know, the shiny is what gets us now.
Exactly. Right? But it's the same thing where, you know, you have to outweigh this. Yeah, they do have a better weight room. You're right. And we could win those games and you give that kind of pitch. But at the end of the day, the pitch is your quality of life versus these other programs.
I think you're asking.
If I'm an HBCU recruit, you know, one of the first things I pull up from a statistical standpoint, bro, how many black kids leave those type of programs versus the ones that stay at HBCUs? That's the first thing I'm giving the mama. When I go to that living room, listen, man, they got a big turnover rate. Why? Because it's a culture shock.
Yeah.
And here's another pitch. You want to know about a pitch? Those type of schools are stepping stone jobs for coaches, not the HBCUs, but those Incarnate Word. Now, I keep picking their name because it just sticks out to me. If I'm a coach and I do a great job at Incarnate Word, guess what happens to me?
You're moving up.
I'm moving up and I'm moving out. Well, what happened? Now your coach has changed. But let's flip it the other side. What happened if I do a bad job at Incarnate Word?
Probably gonna be there for a little bit. Probably gonna get moved up and moved out.
I'm getting fired.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is the coach that you start with typically is not the coach that you finish with. But at HBCUs, there's a little more longevity and coaching stability. And that right there is the key. Those are the pitches that we have to pitch to the kids.
I'll say this, coach.
Those are the
I love it, right? But I think you're adding a little seasoning to a very early dish. And what I mean by that is you're asking an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 19-year-old to think about their quality of life when all they've seen on social media is, you know, locker room, weight room, pool jet skis, and all, you know, jet, massage tubs and all. You're asking them to focus on you. Like, hey man, but that quality of life though, that homecoming you gonna come back to in 4 years, you gonna love it. They're not, to me.
But Scotty, to your point, you're 100% right. If I'm talking about LSU, when the last time you saw Southeastern Louisiana posting jet skis and NIL deals? Never. So what I'm saying is, yes, when you get on their campus, they have probably a bigger alumni base, a bigger endowment. I get it. But what I'm saying is, yes, if I had to make a choice between LSU and Grambling, that's a hard sell. I get it. But when I'm just looking through this list. Shoot, let me pick one of these schools right here. Southern Utah.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you. You know what I'm saying? I can't.
How about this? We can go right here at Wagner in New York. I'm just saying, it's so many of those schools that, of course, some of their facilities may be better, but our HBCUs ain't crap, dog. It's some of them that can do better, but we got a lot of HBCUs that got beautiful facilities. Prairie View, Hampton, Jackson State. Now, I mean, there are so many HBCUs that are doing great. So I understand the 18-year-old, but that's when you got to get to the mama. You got to get to the handler. Whoever it is that's in charge of that kid, that's who you got to educate. That's who you got to show them, look, bro, this is what it is. You understand?
That's fair.
Like, I can go through school after school after school, like you guys right there, let's say Texas. You got Texas Southern, right?
Yeah.
And a kid messed around and picked Southeast Missouri State.
That just, hey, yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying, Coach. I got a lot. You got to land the plane for me though.
Oh, it's landed. I just want to say that to you, man. I appreciate you. I just wanted people to think that, yeah, there's some money, but we also got to be able to educate our kids, the parents, and the communities on that, in that sense, so they understand. Like I say, HBCUs is not a different division, bro. It's the same division as a lot of these schools. We just don't look at Hampton has now gone on. They were in the same thing as Campbell University, the Camels. Hell, I ain't never even heard of Campbell University until they walked in my office one day. And I've been coaching 25 years. And with that being said, playing language, my man. Appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate the call, Coach. Hey, listen, man, y'all can catch Coach Hayes. Does SEC football, comes a little HBCU every now and again. No, he does Miami. He covers Miami, covers high school recruiting. Like, great channel. All right, go over there to Coach Hayes football. You know what I'm saying? Learn you some stuff. All right, Coach Me podcast. I love that thing. Shout out to Coach Hayes for that. All right, let's get to some more callers. 1973 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name's Montrell. I'm from, I go to Allen University.
You went to where?
Oh, I go to Allen.
Iron?
Allen in Columbia.
Allen. Man, listen, I'm going to need some pronunciation on that, okay? Boy, you can't get no country than that. That boy said Iron Allen. Boy, you got to come correct. Allen University. All right, Allen. All right, got you, man. What's going on with you? Talk to me.
All right. So I hear all these people talking about why HBCU can't get drafted. You can get drafted anywhere. The players just got to work harder, though.
The players got to work harder. They not working hard enough, huh? That's what you said. They not working hard enough.
Yeah. I mean, they got D3 players going to the NFL. So what's their excuse?
Oh, man. I don't know, man. They got to work harder. I feel you.
Yeah, man. That's all I got to say, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Listen, at the end of the day, if you didn't get drafted, you just got to work harder. Listen, being FCS All-American, that's not enough. It's not enough. Got to work harder, okay? Just got to work harder. Mr. Bugs coming to you, and then 2269 coming to you. What's up, Mr. Bugs?
Scotty, what's up, baby? How you doing, man? Doing all right, brother?
Yes, sir.
Real quick, man. Real quick, and you got to teach me on this one here real fast.
Talk to me.
Is when it comes to the one thing that I see a lot with these Power 5 schools is they have a lot of media access. You have the ESPN Game Day, and of course they have the SEC Network, ESPN, and things like that nature, ABC, CBS. So it's a lot of exposure when you go to those Power 5 schools. If the playing level was level, and the HBCUs actually had a media conglomerate behind them, would that change the money flow when it comes to advertising, things of that nature? What do you think, Scott?
Absolutely. Because listen, man, and I'm talking to you like it's all right. I agree. I think it would absolutely change the money flow. Because one thing I know about America is black people move the needle. Like that.
Yes, we do.
That's you can argue about a lot of things, but black people move the needle. Let's keep it a buck. 80% of these PWIs are full of who? Brothers.
You're right.
You know, like, let's not play this game. It's full of black people. Now, the people in power and position are white, but if the HBCUs, one, have to be open to it, because that's half the battle. If I put media behind you and you're still acting as if you're a emu with your head in the dirt and you're not accepting of that, then you're going to just keep putting yourself in the same predicament. The Power 5.
Well, I guess
Go ahead.
I guess my question is why would the HBCUs be against that type of play if the dollars would actually flow to that type of play? If that makes sense.
Well, I think at the end of the day, you still like with any publicity comes criticism, right? With any good thing comes criticism, right? So let's say this, like when American Idol was hot, like I'm talking about like Fantasia, Ruben Studdard, you probably have people complaining like, man, I don't know why I got to dial in. Like, why I got to dial in to vote? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always going to be some type of criticism. And I don't think HBCUs I don't think they know how to process criticism. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they know how to process correction, because they just feel like, who are you to tell us how to do this? Who are you to tell us how to do this? I get a lot of that from HBCUs.
And so it sounds like that there's an ivory tower type of mentality when it comes to the HBCUs. Now I see why they broke.
Well, I think,
now I see why they broke.
I think that the ivory tower of they can do nothing wrong, or right, like it's like a perfect situation. I think that's just the mentality of HBCUs and some alums. And some alums don't feel that way, and some alums do. But the part of being broke, on the sense of the media side of what you brought up, I think it's not always in. Okay, two things can be true, right? And I always say this is where HBCUs have a problem with criticism, but does the media see the value in HBCUs? And I think it's more of the latter than the former, right? So I think a lot of media don't see the value in an HBCU market. A lot of, even though the major brands are promoting to our people. Why? Because we over-index for everything. We buy the most soda. We buy the most snacks. We're in front of the TV the most. We buy the most electronics. We spend the highest on cars and shoes. We over-index for so many different things that they want our dollars, but they don't want to give us the access to, because when you have control, okay, give a good example like Power, right? With 50 Cent. Yeah. He's the executive producer of that. He can add whoever he wants to his show. Nick, if he wants to put Nicki Minaj in Power, he can. If he wants to put like he put Monique in it, he can. There's a difference when you have a white conglomerate pushing a black narrative, and then you have a black man pushing a black narrative. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of intricacies and variables to that. But I will say, the fact of the matter is that HBCUs do have somewhat of an ivory tower like mindset, to where they feel like you can't tell me what to do. What we do here is what we do here, and it's perfect. And you're like, yo, there are some things that need to be fixed and can be fixed if you allow it to be. But, you know, hey, it is what it is.
Let me ask you one last question because I know you have other callers. How can the consumers drive, influence the decision making of the HBCUs when it comes to this media type of play? Well, how can we change their minds?
Success. You gotta like
success.
What black?
What does it look like?
Yeah, it could be. You know, I would say YouTube is a great way to start, right? Because let's say before Dion was here, you probably had one YouTuber, and he didn't even get he didn't really get any views about the show he did, right? So now you have Prime. He brings in all these influx of YouTubers toward the HBCU space. So now you have all these HBCU alums with so many different platforms that they can talk about their team, their school, so you're seeing the success in that. So now you start thinking like, okay, if I can scale this appropriately, what could this look like? Right? What could this possibly be? Because there's no different than what On3 is doing. Right? They built a platform on a website and on YouTube, and they've been building their process. It's no different than what 247 has done, what Rivals has done, what all these other white conglomerate recruiting sites have done. Now it's like no different than what Paul Feinbaum has done at the SEC Network, where he started out on radio, and now he's matriculated his way up to ESPN. So one, black people have to see their own value and say, hey, can we grow what is ours? Right? Can we grow can we support and grow what is ours? That's number one. Number two, can we scale it? Right? Can we scale it on the sense? Can we make it as big as On3? Can we make it as big as 247? Right? And then at the end of the day, will the HBCU community and the administration and the commissioners, will they accept it? Because at the end of the day, you think Nick Saban doesn't allow 247 access to their stuff? You don't think coaches, you know what I'm saying? You don't think coaches are telling 247, hey, we about to get this kid and the insider here and the insider there. You have to be open and willing to do that type of stuff. And I don't know if HBCUs are ready because they act like super secret squirrel out here where every recruit is secret and it's stupid stuff, man. Like
I got you, man. Yeah. That makes sense, man. You and I can have a discussion offline, man, because I love peeking into your brain on the media side because you're teaching me a lot on that, man. So, man, thank you for your time, brother. Great call, man. I'm in the chat listening.
Hey, appreciate it, Mr. Bucks. Thank you so much. All right. Let's keep this thing rolling. All right. 1410. Hey, calling you live.
Hey, what's going on, Scotty? It's Dukes in Atlanta.
Talk to me.
Yeah, I got a couple things. About the HBCU players going into the draft. I noticed with JSU, they had 3-4 scouts there every day when they were in practice. Are these other HBCU coaches out networking, talking, pulling these scouts into their practices and stuff on a daily basis to show off their players?
I think what happens is this, right? I think what Dion is doing is this. It's like, thank you, guy. It's like when your friend goes traveling, right? And you're like, man, where you go? Man, I went to the Grand Cayman. I never heard of Grand Cayman. Man, you got to check out Grand Cayman. Man, them Grand Cayman Islands. Man, the water be so blue. I can see my hand in it. Got turtles swimming around you. Beautiful place. You go to the Grand Caymans and you like, man, this is nice. So what do? You go back and say, hey, man, hey, my home, man, I might have to go back to the Grand Cayman. That's what Dion did, right? That's all really Dion did is he kept putting the spotlight on it. The word of mouth grew, right? Like, hey, man, like, and nobody wants to be left out in the NFL world. So they're like, hey, man, send a scout down there. Hey, man, said, hey, check, see what Dion did?
Yeah.
Dion said, Dion said, Dion said, at least let's send a scout down there and make sure we do our duty. That's what you get. That's what you get when you have a Deion Sanders. I'm not saying that, talent alone won't get scouts there because it will, right? But when you have a figure head like Deion Sanders pushing that narrative of, hey, check this out. I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying? Like, It's like okay, another thing, right? It's like if your friend was a banker and he told you, hey man, American Express got this new credit card, bro. They got the red card. You need to check that out. You gonna be like, oh, he said it's good? Oh shit, I'm gonna have to go get me a red card just off the strength of his word. Right? Now, how you use that red card, and you say, man, this ain't trash. That's all on you, but you got it. But you went and got it. So, and that's the thing with Dion. Dion makes you go check it out. Even if you don't buy, even if you don't like it, you have to go check it out because Dion is telling you there's something here, and you don't want to be the one missed out on it.
Yeah, and another one of the things I was going to say, my last thing I was going to say is, as far as attracting these players, you know, you can't expect the 18-year-old to think like a 46-year-old. You know, it's that thing, don't get grown before your time.
That's fair.
You know, let the 18-year-old be the 18-year-old, but the HBCUs, they have to change they got to change their way. You know, they built on tradition. I mean,
The conference has been locked.
Offices and you got cement blocks back there in the background. I mean, you got to change that thing up, some kind of upgrade to entice these players that when they come, that they're not living in prehistoric times, you know, because they want what they see out on the internet. They want what they see on social media. I mean, even if you ain't getting all of it, you got to give them some of it. And that's probably one of the only ways you're going to be able to get some of these top-notch players back into the HBCU world.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for the call. All right, listen, I got to go be a parent. I'm taking 2 more calls. All right, so 2269, I can't take you, my boy. You already called in. I appreciate you for waiting, but I'm gonna get these last 2 callers. 7699 and 0527. I'm gonna get y'all, and then I gotta go be a parent. All right. 7699, coming to you. What's goody?
Hey, Scotty, how you doing? Jamie Walker, what's going on,
What's up, Mr. Walker? Talk to me.
Man, I had to call in, man. We finished up this women's football game I just called, but man, I'm so highly disappointed, brother. I am, because I'm an HBCU lifer, so it's kind of one of those things where you see the frustrations of everything that you thought you made progress in just kind of go. And what has just drawn me, it just made me conclude that we don't need to try to play the same game that everybody else is doing.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of sliding with you now based on the finances, the insulation of our game, everything. And I think we're just at the point of somebody went and found, and you know, me, Blue, and a couple other people had a discussion about it today on Twitter. They found a guy from Princeton. They found a guy from Princeton. And so I think everything else that we're doing as far as exposure or anything else is concerned needs to just go out the window. We need to do us. We need to raise our level of finances. We need to educate our kids, and then let the chips fall where they may. And I think it does. Oh, go ahead.
Let me throw back, because I like where you're going, right? Because if you don't know what he's talking about, I've said previous shows that HBCUs just become Wakanda. Just become Wakanda, right? Because it's like you tell people that, hey, because you have an experience that nobody else can give, right? And you have to be okay with that, right? Like there's certain things that you just say, hey, I'm okay with what I have to offer, and what can come of this is maybe a draft, definitely the XFL and USFL. That's a definite. You could definitely get drafted in one of those 2 leagues, right? So you can be a professional athlete and then maybe make your transition that way. But I think I agree with you so much, Walker, is if you insulate, right? Still play your 1 FBS schools or whatever. But if you insulate and focus on growing the game entertainment-wise, production-wise, atmosphere-wise, and just really giving these kids a different, man, I know I could have gone there, or maybe I do make the transfer to JUCO, or may say I do make the transfer to Group of 5, Power 5, but man, it was nothing like when I was at Southern, or it was nothing like when I was at Alabama A&M. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't control kids, but what you can give them is a lifetime of experience that they'll never forget. You get what I'm saying? So I agree with you on that aspect, but you can't, to me, you can't be in both arenas. You can't play.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Walker.
Yeah. And nah, man. And I think it's just a couple of things we just have to, just have to come to the realization of. Number one, when I was listening as I was driving to you, I was thinking about this question I couldn't answer. And that is, when is the last time we had an HBCU football player drafted that was not a former transfer of a Power 5? And the other question for me was
the Kobe was.
Yeah. And I do think it has something to do with the scheduling, because the Kobe Durant, I'm talking about the SWAC.
Oh yeah, I can't give you.
But you know what I'm saying? But everyone talked about not playing Power 5s. We need to have our own schedule for money purposes. Where it seems that you can only get drafted if you play a Power 5. Like even with Isaiah Bolden's tape, how much are they going to talk about him playing at Jackson State?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's frustrating, man. It's just frustrating.
I get you, man. Especially as a lifer, to see where it's going or gone, or where you think it should be, or where you thought it was going, and then it kind of falls back on its heels of where it is now. It's tough. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. But to answer your question from the SWAC, it'll be Carter, the Southern guard that got drafted by the Chicago Bears last year. You know what I'm saying? So he'll be your one outside of the Kobe Durant. But hey, Jamie, appreciate the call.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you.
Hey, no problem. All right, fam, KJ, coming to you. You my last caller.
All right, man. I know you've been waiting for this one, man. Hey, only thing I can say, man, I'm extremely disappointed. But the truth is that this is the elephant in the room, man, is that I also think that coaching at the HBCU level, it's somewhat starting to really, really show. I don't think the scouts are trusting that this kid from the time, yes, he may have gotten faster, bigger, stronger, but knowing the game. I mean, if someone goes in the room and says, with our defensive coordinator, okay, what is it that you're teaching them? That's going to be like a damn throw whatever at the wall and let's see what sticks. Because, it's just not there, man. It's not there. So it's purely athletic ability that Isaiah was doing. He was hurt I even said this even when he was deciding to come back, is that he got a whole family's defensive coaching staff to the wall and say, hey, man, how are you going to, show me or profile me for this season? Don't put my hand in the dirt and just say, go get the quarterback. I got to be highlighted in some kind of way to show my skills. And no, they just pretty much say, man, go get the quarterback. And that hurt him. That really hurt him. So, but I do hope that the coaching, way back in the day, man, we had guys who had been at Florida A&M or wherever for sometimes assistant coaches had been there for 20 years. And these guys had put out countless pros. So those scouts come in there and they were like, hey, okay, I know coaching so-and-so knows defensive lineman because he's put out 2 or 3. Look at Buddy Pugh up at South Carolina State.
I agree.
I'm pretty sure that they trust him. They know that, hey, man, we get one of his, but he's been there for years.
Yeah.
And as HBCU programs, man, we got to start investing in our assistant coaches.
Let me ask you this.
That you can't.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Who are you saying that they hurt by saying put your hand in the dirt and go get the ball, go get the football?
Yeah. So this is the thing. When you just have him line up and you don't say scheming, Isaiah Land.
Oh.
Yeah, when you just tell him to line up and go get the quarterback, and you don't scheme him, and so they can look at different things on film and go like, okay, I saw this guy being able to drop. I saw this guy being able to set up like he was going to blitz and he dropped, or he shot the shot. He did come this time.
No, fam, you KJ. So, no. You will not. No, sir. Because if I recall, you called my phone 4 days ago talking about a GM came and watched him personally. And you also was like, he was killing people at the Senior Bowl. And you also said he'll be a 4th or 5th round pick. And I kept telling you, now all of a sudden you got all this insight of why he did not get drafted when I was telling you he wouldn't be drafted. And you kept telling me I didn't know what I was talking about. Why? Because the GM of the Commanders was at his pro day.
Right. However, now he still ended up signing immediately with the Cowboys, and I think that may be something. The same thing they did with Bell. They're getting probably like, hey man, if we can continue to get discounts on good players, hey, that's what we're gonna do. So, this might be, if he didn't go in the 5th, go in the 6th, 7th round, sometimes that's not the best thing. So he can be a priority free agent. Dallas picked him up right away. Hey man, that might work out great for him. That really, really could.
I have a,
but go ahead.
Jesus. Sometimes, I got diagnosed with pettyliciousness, because the thing that I don't understand is that how, when you said, listen, I'm not putting words in your mouth. You said people don't know how important that is, that the GM of the Washington Commanders was at his pro day, and he didn't even get picked by the command. So can you explain to me your logic behind what you were saying? Because I have the clip. I can play the clip if you need to hear the clip. It
is important, but I will say this much. Like I say, they had the scout meetings. They decide, hey man, this is what I saw with these kids. How many of us want to pull the trigger on land? How many say, how many yays, how many nays?
Wow, that changed.
And, they just said, hey, I think it's somebody that's better. And that's what they went with. This right here. When you start to see, and this is so important, man, and I saw somebody say it in the chat. When a GM, and this is totally different, it's one thing to seeing your head scout, it's one thing to seeing your regional scout, but when a GM comes to personally see you, that's very serious. A GM does not come, just like with the first pick of the draft. I think this kid from I think the GMs from I think Carolina, they're
Is this you? It sounds like you. I'm gonna just keep playing. It sounds like you.
The ones that's going to his workout. When you have a GM to come see you, that's major. That I mean, there's nothing you can say when he takes his time out to say, I want to come see you in person. That's a major move, man. That's a major move. If anybody knows anything about scouting, when a GM comes to personally see you, that is a major move.
So let me ask you this. That don't make no sense. It was so major. Wow. So major. Wow. That's, woo. I don't know if you should be calling in, FAMU, KJ. I don't know if you should be calling.
Hey, man, I'm going out. I'm going back in the backwoods somewhere, man, and hide for a while. You got me on that one.
All right, man. Take it easy, bro. Appreciate the call.
All right, bro.
Listen, I got him. Come on, man. Stop playing with me, man. Stop playing with me, man. That's you.
Goodbye.
That was you. You said that. I didn't make that up. That was you. You said that.
Scout is one thing to seeing your regional scout, but when a GM comes to personally see you, that's very serious. A GM
when a GM personally come to see you, that's a huge deal. I don't know if anybody know anything about scouting, but if a GM come see you, that's a major deal. It's a major deal.
Does not come, just like with the first pick of the draft. I think this kid from I think the GMs from I think Carolina, they're the ones that's going to his workout. When you have a GM to come see you, that's major. That I mean, there's nothing you can say when he takes his time.
There's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can say. You know what? It's so much nothing you can say. I don't even know how the Cowboys got him, because they didn't even go to the boy. They didn't even show up. The GM from the Cowboy didn't even show up. So how they get him? How they draft him, and the Cowboy GM didn't even show up. But if you know anything about scouting, if you know anything about scouting, when a GM comes see you, some of y'all need to stop calling. Some of y'all need to stop calling. And how How perfect was that I had the clip and my man called in? That's how you know God be in the mix. That's how you know God be in the mix. Because I just so happened to have that clip ready. And my man called in. Right when I'm getting off this thing. All right. So guys, listen. Once again, your boy Scotty. I'm not gonna say I was wrong, because I rarely am. I was right. I'm not gonna say I told you so, but kind of told you so. But overall, I just think that you gotta be realistic and understanding of that. Sometimes players won't get drafted, right? But but they will get an opportunity to show what they can do undrafted wise, XFL, USFL, and it's not the end of the world if they don't get drafted. All right, it's not the end of the world if they don't get drafted. Marquise Bell is still on the Cowboys practice squad making good money. All right, you're gonna have players going to the XFL and USFL making good money, right? You got the former Jack State DB Holmes, he's there. Warren Newman is there. You got Contario Cole's over there making. I mean, like, you got ballers, right? So I'm not saying that it's not important to get drafted, but let's not put all the eggs in one basket of, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Like, HBCU football has come to a complete stop because there's no, listen, right? You can't appease everybody, right? You can't appease everybody. But at the same time, if that's a lane that you're trying to get into, understand the requirements of that lane and understand, don't cheat your players out understanding of what they need to accomplish and show and prove to get to that level, right? So that's like if I'm a teacher and I know we have to take a standardized test and I got to teach you algebra to pass it, but I'm teaching you geometry. I'm going to say that again. You can't be mad at the requirements to get there, right? When you got to pass algebra, but I'm teaching geometry. It don't add up. It don't add up. When you know they're looking for Power 5 tape and what you can do against higher level competition, and all your scheduling is low-level FCS and D2 schools, don't come crying about not getting drafted. And while you're in the process of building up to that, how about building up your infrastructure to make the event in HBCU better? All right? That's just what it is, man. But listen, guys, I appreciate you. Hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Shout out to everybody who signed deals with their teams. Nugget, Land, X-Man, Aubrey Miller, Mark Evans, Shaq, all those guys who signed deals. Congratulations, man. Listen, it's not about where you start, it's how you finish. Keep working, keep grinding. Isaiah Bolden, you are the #1 guy drafted by HBCU. Put on for the community. And until next time, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to holler. God bless.